Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show.
Ugh, God. Number
Laurie
2.
Kilmartin,
the
happy.
night.
But just think, this is it.
No, then we have to do another one on Sunday, Jack. It's not it.
This is so close to being it.
Oh, for tonight.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right, we're almost done for the night, and then I have to get up tomorrow morning. I have a bunch of shit going on.
What are
I
you
have to
doing?
record, much like this show, I must record many Dork Forests, and they must
This
be
is
edited.
a nightmare week for you.
It's a lot of bullshit. And then, get this, no Delta. Got my flights.
Oh.
United and American, both airlines that
That
I
you
wish
don't-
to bury in the sea.
You don't even want to accrue miles on them, right?
No, I don't. But I did find my American.
Those are
frequent
both the
flyer.
airlines that flew into the towers. United and Delta and American.
Well, so pray for me, you guys. This could be a posthumous podcast of me not making it. But here's the scoop: I have suggested to several people that I just spend $6,000 and fly Delta to Heathrow and then fly Delta from Frankfurt back to Los Angeles.
Oh, my God. That sounds wonderful.
I am making $3,200. And any number of people have said to me, no, just suck it up. Just suck it up. Just fly 11 hours to Heathrow and 14 hours from Frankfurt. And I have this to say. I have taken up some small amount of whimpering when I get on a plane. Is anyone going to be happy sitting next to me for 11 hours while I whimper?
Jackie.
Yes.
So you're making 32. It would only cost you 2,800. You're negative 2,800, right?
Yep.
Guess whose gig you took for $3,000 less than a month ago?
Right.
That's my gift to you.
That's it.
Use the money that you didn't deserve. That you only got
deserve
because
every
Kevin made a
time.
mistake.
Yeah, poor Kevin.
And
he probably regrets it to this day, being my crazy ass
Take
jokes
it
when he could have.
and fly fucking first class both ways. Even business would be great. You could, as long as you can lay down.
Well, and here's the scoop: is I don't know that any of that is going to happen because they changed the flights today, so I have to plan a flight on Delta that will arrive at the same time, and a flight that will leave at the same time.
Ish. You can get to the airport early.
No,
on
I'm
the
willing to go
outbound.
early. I'm totally willing to get there early.
Yeah.
and just hang out.
Because you'll be so refreshed. You won't even mind.
Right. And but there are many, so now I've been given many different options and very little sympathy, except for from this unforeseen corner right here. Thank you very much,
Dude.
Laurie Kilmartin.
I just did the math for you.
That's
All
right.
I do is math now.
Now a lot of people don't know this about Laurie Kilmartin. It's all about math. All about math now. And
Listen, just pretend if you hadn't got that gig, it dropped in your lap.
Right.
Right? Because of a mistake. Right? That's free money. It's not your money. It's free money.
Here's the other
Yes,
thing.
you earned it, but it's free money.
I wasn't
Use
gonna-
it and treat yourself.
There were 2 gigs that I did in the 3 weeks that I swore I would not travel.
Yeah.
One was that gig for $3,000.
And you had to go to San Francisco. Oh, the ugliest city in the world, which is only
And then-
an hour-long flight.
And then I went to Minneapolis to do the NPR gig.
Don't blame me for that.
No, but I also made, I think, like $2,400 on that I haven't seen yet. So I did make $5,000. I mean, here's the thing.
It's extra.
There are comics listening right now going, stop talking about how much money you have. Jesus Christ, you're irritating me. And I don't blame those comics. I think that those comics are correct. So let's stop talking about that. But here's what I might do.
No. Here's the thing: is yeah, you're not making that money right now. You will be. Okay.
Yeah.
And
you're talking to the
this
comics
is,
out there.
Yes, this is a valid conversation to have. Of you're flying
At
to
this
a gig, and you can make it better for yourself. If you don't, you will be in misery. And
right, it's going to take me 3 days to come back.
it's awful, right? So should you take the money that you got on these bonus gigs you weren't counting on,
Right.
and if you
Treat
were
myself like the Fabergé egg that I am.
Yes, if you were a road feature, you could probably fund your life for 6 months on $5,000, right?
For sure.
Okay, but you're not. You've done that. You're in a different place right now, and you're looking at agony on an airplane
For
two
too long.
ways.
For too
Yes.
long. So, So that is an excellent argument, and this pen doesn't work. So I'm going to...
So you threw it in my garage.
I did it for comedic effect, and I made myself laugh. And at this late date, I think that we needed it. So,
All right.
Take it. Take it for what it is. It's great. Okay, so, so those are the flights. I mean, the other thing I could do for sure, and I'm going to do this, is I'm going to use frequent flyer miles from Frankfurt to LA, because I'm not even using all of my frequent flyer miles.
Your what?
My Delta frequent flyer miles.
Oh, so it wouldn't even cost you $6,000.
It'll be free to fly the one way from Frankfurt home.
Oh.
So it might just be $3,000.
Dude, then it's a break-even trip to Europe.
Yeah.
What kind of life are you living?
I know.
This
I know.
is
Why
amazing.
even question it?
Yes.
Is what I thought. But then everyone I talked to was like Chris Mancini, who hosts Comedy Film Nerds. I was telling him, he was like, how about this? How about you suck? And I was like, you're the father of two. You're used to depriving yourself of things. I am blessedly childless. The barrenness of my womb has caused me to want to treat myself right.
Yeah.
And
Dude,
and
life is short.
life is so short. It's shorter every day when
It
you're
is,
flying
honestly.
United.
Every flight could be your last flight.
American? You kidding me? There's Boeings. I'm getting on a Boeing, you guys. We don't know what's going to happen.
Plus, with your period spouting off left and right, you don't know when. It's better to have it in first class than in
because
than in
they will
coach.
find me a napkin. It won't be a paper napkin. What?
And it'll be a seat that's a wipe down, right? It won't be a seat that
Whatever.
that doesn't make sense.
And so I'm recording the
tired.
last one. Well, no,
Yeah.
I'm recording two more this week. One with Cindy Campanera.
Mm-hmm.
You know Cindy Campanera? And
I don't know if I know her. I think I know her.
You know her brother.
via the internet. John Campanera is her brother.
her brother, yeah.
Okay.
And he's stand-up. And then on Friday I'm doing...
Is he from Chicago?
I
John
think
Campanera?
so.
Okay, because sometimes I
think they're
mix his last
Campanera
name
comics.
up with John Camparelli,
Oh, right.
but they're not. That's not okay.
I don't actually know where they're from. I know it's either it's east of here.
Right.
They're not West Coast. He's not a West
So they're
Coast
not
comic.
Samoans. Okay.
I thought that he might be a New York guy
Yeah.
because Campanella. That I think that he's a Chicago guy.
Okay.
I don't know, but she's great. Yeah. And she's going to come on. And so I'm recording one with her tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And I'm recording one with Danielle Perez on Friday.
Cool.
And I think two episodes ago I said I was that Carmen Morales was going to feature for me at Flappers because I haven't done Flappers yet. We're weeks. It's already happened. I've killed. I've standing ovations. People carried me off stage, you guys. It was amazing. But it's actually going to be Danielle Perez who's featuring for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
and that'll
great.
be she's doing one night. And that'll be super fun.
Awesome.
And we're going to do a Dork Forest about Mariah Carey. That's
Okay.
her. That's her dorkdom. I don't even know who that is. She's a singer.
You don't know her?
I don't know Mariah Carey.
That's a fucking meme of Mariah Carey saying, "I don't know her."
Oh, is that a reference to Mariah Carey?
Yes.
Well, good for you for getting that.
Thank you.
I'm sure I've heard Mariah Carey because I go to gas stations and grocery stores.
Oh my
But
God.
I'm not saying.
Are you
that
workshopping your lines for the Dork Forest on this fucking podcast?
No, I wouldn't make fun of Mariah Carey on the Dork Forest because that's not what the Dork Forest is for. I had someone come up to me in Boise last weekend and tell me that that the Dork Forest has gotten her through the last 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, she was like, she said at one point my anxiety was so great I was listening to them before bed and I'd fall asleep to your voice.
Oh man, there's so much in there.
It's your
I
nightmare.
can barely unpack it. There's this weird thing. I don't know. This will be weeks later, but with the WGA,
Oh, right.
we're about to fire our agents. All of us
As a group.
It's crazy because of packaging and the fact that this is so gross. Hedge funds own WME, CAA, and UTA, and maybe one other one.
Really?
Hedge funds. These are the people that are bankrupting newspapers. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe
those
a hedge
agencies.
fund, but they have a ton of money. They buy a company, and they go, okay, we need profits. Oh, we're a newspaper. We
don't make any profits.
We make some profits, but our biggest goal is reporting the news. Well, I don't care. We want profits. We own you now. We have shareholders. Your news has to please shareholders. So now it's with its agencies, and an agent's job is to get you work and get you as much money as possible for the work. So their 10% is as high a number as possible.
Yeah.
And so now that agents get money from the top, which has nothing to do with your salary.
Commissions.
The
agents aren't strictly commissioned anymore?
No, they get some of their money's from commissioning your work, and other parts of it are just little
coming
pieces
from
they take from projects that are being worked on. And I'm not explaining it properly, but it's something where there's vast sums of money that are not going to writers, and writers' salaries are going down, and so much more money is being made producing content, but writers, the people that come up with it and originate it, aren't getting it. So anyway, it's not a strike, and everyone can still keep working, but everyone is pretty much with the big four agencies, and I'm with WME, and I like my literary agent there. He's a nice guy. I mean, I hardly ever talk to him because I'm on a show, so and I'm not trying to get off of it. So,
right, but he would be the one to get you more work if something happened, right? But okay.
So I'm going to a meeting. The WGA and is they're doing kind of informational meetings.
I didn't know about the hedge funds.
And it's just like,
I think it's an excellent ploy though, because of everybody. As long as all the writers are in a row, as long as everybody's willing to do it.
Pretty much a yes.
Okay.
It's just it's a money grab that it's just gross, and it's like Amazon not paying any taxes and stuff. You're just like, what? I mean, you are making so much money. Why are you chiseling it out of our small salaries anyway, comparatively small,
Right. And I don't understand where
David Simon, the creator of The Wire, is just like ranting on he's so good. He's so good at explaining this stuff, and his anger is
very articulate and beautiful.
It's vital.
and it's awesome.
And so anyway, I hope that gets resolved, but it doesn't sound like it. I get these emails from WME, from whoever the guy that's their negotiator, and he's making the writers sound like we're just completely unreasonable, and it's like, no, I know writers, and I know this, they're not unreasonable. Everyone's this is the last thing anyone wants to do. This is
nobody wants to do anything.
It's confrontation
to be
with powerful people, and it's like, can I just fucking write monologue jokes or whatever?
It's all artists want to do is their art, and be paid fair for it, and not be taken for some fucking buggy ride,
right?
And that is what has caused the chipping away, is because nobody does like confrontation. Yeah. And so what you need is someone to rally around, and someone to come up with an idea as good as this one.
It's weird because, it also affects directors and actors, but their guilds aren't as loud as our guild is.
Huh.
It's like, hey, you guys could step up too.
Yeah, you could have our backs
directors
on this.
Could fire your agents as well. But so far,
anybody willing to stand next to us and solidify the sitch?
Yeah.
That's
so I'm going to do that on Saturday morning. Go to that meeting, see how that pans out, and then
have to make a decision when, next week?
I forget when the vote is. It's coming up pretty soon.
The first week of April, or because this goes up third week of April.
Yeah, this might be totally resolved by the time this comes out.
We could only hope.
We're at war.
Or right. Well, I'm hoping that we don't leave NATO while I'm in Eastern Europe.
Oh yeah,
and because
stranded.
I'd be stranded. I would have to march across Syria, much like my grandmother. And so that's dark.
Can you go to your grandmother's village?
They're off the map. They completely destroyed them.
So it doesn't exist. It's just you can find the GPS coordinates, but there would be nothing there.
Yeah, Çomaklu is where she's from, a little town in northern Turkey, and my grandfather, about 15, 25 miles from there, a place called Tomarza, and they're both gone from the maps. Though someone told me that they've settled Kurds, the Kurdish people. In Turkey, there are the Turks who are first-class citizens. There are the Kurds who are second-class citizens.
Yeah, Turks are assholes in almost every story I hear about
and
them.
the Armenians are third-class citizens. And so the Kurds have been given that old, ancient Armenian land. And, but you know what about old, ancient Armenian land? There's no old, ancient Armenians there anymore. So let the Kurds have it. And granted, I do not have a horse in this race. And I was raised not to have a horse in this race, and I refuse to have
apolitical?
a horse. Yeah, I will not. I am not the political arm of the Armenian
So you're
Church.
not like an Armenian Zionist or anything.
They're
like
called
that?
Tashnaks. And,
Tashnaks?
Yes.
Wow.
And I was not raised Tashnak. I was raised
American,
much more secular.
Yeah.
It was a secular church, the Armenian church I went to. It wasn't secular. It was Christian, but I mean it was it was all more interested in a Wisconsin pancake breakfast is what it was more interested in.
They're good. They're
good. There's nothing wrong with it. Who doesn't want that part of it? Anyway, so yeah, I'm not going to go to that. I'm not, to my knowledge, like, by the time I forget where we'll be, because this will be like the 16th or 17th, I think, right? And so this week,
15th.
the 15th?
Taxes are due today. Did you do your taxes?
Oh my God, I'm
Or did
going
you
to
file for an extension?
Extension. Travel to Bulgaria. I'll be in Bulgaria and then Turkey. And then Kosovo. And then I'm coming home. I'm home the 23rd or 24th. And then get this, I immediately go back on the road.
Where?
I think I'm doing North Carolina 3 different times.
With Maria?
Twice with Maria and once for the Cape Fear Comedy Festival.
Wow.
And so I won't need the miles. These frequent flyer miles.
Oh, yeah.
That I was also, that was another reason why I wanted to buy a ticket. Was because I was like, well, I could use the frequent flyer miles.
Did you ever work Charlie Goodnights?
No, I
in
never
Raleigh?
did.
Oh, such a good club. I think it's a different.
It's a Helium now.
Oh, is it the same guy that books all the Heliums? Okay.
Yep. So,
well, I thought I went on Portland's schedule and they seem to have more women there. Does Portland have a different booker or is it the same person?
no, it's the same person.
Oh,
It used
okay.
to be Rich Miller for all of them.
Right.
And now I think Grossman's doing all of them. And he's, and he's booking some women. I mean, some women are being booked, but it's the same 6 women that get to work all sort of the coolest clubs.
Right.
Like I spent 30 years trying to get into A clubs.
Right.
And then,
Right.
and granted, do I want to work a club that's run by a guy who doesn't like me? Yes, I do. It turns out I completely and entirely do.
Dude, that's what my first 20 years in show business you just described.
Exactly. I was like, how can I explain to you? I don't care if you like me.
Yeah.
I just want to go up on your stage.
Right.
So,
I worked there with Tim Wilson.
oh, wow.
Yeah. God, he was funny. He died.
He's dead, right?
Yeah, he died.
Yeah.
I think he died from. My theory is he worked super, super hard and was always driving to gigs and bringing merch and stuff like that. And that's just
Grinding
hard
it
on the
out.
body, man.
Grinding it out's hardcore. I did 2 episodes of The Dork Forest about stand-up comedy, weirdly. Augie Smith told a great Brody Stevens story,
Oh,
an
yeah.
Uncle Dirty story. And that came out actually the week that we're recording this. It's out. And some great, just some really cool grind. And then I just recorded one this week as part of the many episodes that needed to be recorded. Carmen Morales talking about doing 6 years she lived out of her car before she moved here. And just grinding it out and working these clubs. And then she'd work a one-nighter and she would, if she didn't have a place, if she didn't know a comic in that town, she would talk to the comics she worked with. And if they liked her, they'd be like, you got a friend? in the next town? What comics do you know? And so she would just get references, and she would just couch surf. In 6 years, she said she bought 2 hotel rooms.
Oh my God.
Yeah, on off nights. Every other time she crashed on couches.
You know, I bought 2 hotel rooms at the same time and didn't stay in either of them in Boston.
In Boston, it's true. It's
in
true.
one weekend.
I know it. I'm doing some gig with Maria in Boston next fall. We should try and do it again. And then there's and I'm in May. Oh, that's it. May 3rd. I'm doing Portland Live Wire.
Oh, cool. Were we going to try to do something?
We were going to try to do something May 4th, but I haven't been able to to book it.
Okay.
I haven't been able to organize it well enough.
What do you do while you're on tour in Europe?
It's you know what I am thinking about doing on tour when I'm in Europe is listening, because I still have 20 hours.
Oh my God.
I got 20 hours of stand-up to listen to, and I have to find...
You constantly have 20 hours. Are you just never catching up?
I'm not catching up. But I am, but I have gotten through Minneapolis, which was at Christmas.
Oh my God.
And, so 3 months ago.
Oh,
but the great thing is I am getting some great lines that I'm coming out of those sets.
Listening, yeah.
And I want to pull out short sets to offer. Like, I want to offer different sets to Colbert and to Conan and to the Corden. Yeah, Corden and Fallon.
Yeah. I do this thing where I'll think of a new line on stage, and I'll be like, oh, I'm going to remember that, and then I'm recording it, and then I get off stage and I know I thought of a new line, but I can't think of what bit it was in, so I don't even know where to fast forward to.
Oh,
right. Know? Because if I spend too much time on stage going, remember this, I'm out of the moment, so I have to immediately go back into
you got to go back into the joke and that's why you record. That is why you record. But then you have to listen.
But also, I start to daydream when I'm listening, or other things, and then I miss the thing I was looking for, but I don't know what I was looking for.
Well, that's why I moved. Remember when Kyle told us how to move the voice memos over to the VLNC or whatever the hell it's called? VNC? Yes.
Although not necessary anymore because of iPhone's new software.
Oh, really? Can I listen to it and move to it and go elsewhere?
Yeah. On the new voice recording part of the iPhone? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Well, they heard us. They heard our cries.
They must have heard our cries.
I don't know what that means.
Okay. And but if I move it over to the
audio
other thing,
nerd,
it's still gonna be compressed, right?
It opens up a little bit. It's weird. I don't understand why it does it.
Okay. It opens up a little bit if I move it over to the other software. Well, that's fine. But because what I'm hoping to do. Well, we are.
I never hide my yawns, guys. I never hide my yawns.
22. We should talk about how great Max Fun Con is.
Hey, I bet you Max Fun has a great show that you could listen to.
Hi, it's Ali Kokesh, one of the cast members of Mission to Zix, a new addition to the Max Fun network. We're blown away by the welcome we've received from Max Fun listeners, telling us you've discovered the show and are binging it hard, supporting us during the drive, and just being rad humans all around. Mission to Zix is an improvised, obsessively sound-designed sci-fi comedy epic, following a group of ambassadors as they explore the ass end of space. I play Dar, the 12-foot-tall omnisexual security officer with furry scales, chest talons, and a series of flaps and shoots that are for... you know what, you'll figure it out. We'd be delighted if you joined our crew aboard the aging sentient starship, the Bargerian Jade, as we travel the Zix Quadrant, meeting all sorts of weird aliens played by brilliant guest comedians. That's Mission to Zix, ZYXX.
And here it is. We're back, you guys.
There it was.
There it was. Dun, 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 dun. Okay.
Yeah, you know what I was thinking of doing, which I don't know if I'll do, but writing out like a total set list, and then after every show, if I were to immediately look at the entire set list and go, and maybe looking at the joke would remind me, oh, I thought of something here. I had a feeling of, yay, I solved this for this joke, and then I would know where to look at it.
Yeah, I mean that'd be an amazing task. That would really,
if I could do that if you're just working a road show, you get off, you finish an hour or 55 minutes, and then you sell one book, and then you go back disgruntled to the green room and look at material. You're like going, I can't believe I haven't dropped that yet. I can't believe I haven't dropped that yet.
But I have to say that I, in an unrelated thing that I'm trying to do after every after shows, is brush my teeth.
Oh, between shows?
No, at the end of the night. In between.
At the end of the night?
In between shows. Yeah, after like if there's 2 shows, but there hasn't been. But like if it's like a Thursday.
Yeah.
It just, you know what? It just helps me think when I go back to the hotel with my teeth brushed for some reason.
Oh, you normally brush your teeth at night, right?
I brush my teeth before bed like a person.
Okay.
But I don't Brian Regan does it after his set. And it made, I was like, why does he do that? And so I started doing it. I was like,
did he say why? Does he feel like all that talking brings up saliva or something, and he wants it out of his mouth?
You know what? We never talked about why he did it, because I just called him Captain America, and so I was busting his chops about it. So he did not go into a sincere reason of why he does it. And then I said, you're a role model, which made me think, well, if he's a role model, why don't you fucking do the thing?
Why don't you model?
Yeah, why don't you follow?
Well, it's also really important to have a toothbrush and toothpaste at a show, because you start eating. You don't want food flying out of your mouth when you're on stage.
No.
So you got to brush your teeth after you eat. Even if you think, oh, I drank, I cleaned it's all out of my mouth. It won't be. Mm-hmm. You're going to be talking, using every muscle in your mouth. Something that's stuck between your teeth is to come flying out at the audience, and it's disgusting.
It's disgusting, and there's enunciation problems sometimes too.
Yes.
So
you ever had popcorn and then go up on stage?
No.
The worst. The worst.
All right. Well, I think that this is important. That's an important thing to tell people. It is an important
thing. We have a lot of potential TED talkers in our listening audience.
I will say that I can't wait to come home. That's what I think I'm saying to myself when I'm in Turkey. But I think it's going to be incredible. I mean,
are you staying in hotels or are you staying with the troops?
I believe both.
Okay.
But he said that there were hotels. And
are they hotels that like people visiting the troops use?
Well, you know, when I went with Vargas to Djibouti, he showed us the hotel that they usually put people up in, and then brought us to the troops where we stayed in a trailer. And I said, now why would you have shown us? The amazing, there's an infinity pool that goes into the Red Sea. Wow. And then you're like, why would you take us back to the Clue, which is a containerized living unit, or a Chew containerized housing unit?
Oh my God!
And there's a wet Clue and a not wet Clue, and we stayed in not wet Clues. Not wet Clues meant that there was no bathroom in it. Oh my God. There was no toilet or shower. You had to go use the.
You had to wet yourself?
You had to go to the trailer of showers and bathrooms and toilets.
In Qatar, we stayed. It was like this. It was a building, and it was where they just put people like
like a dorm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we stayed in a dorm one time.
Basically, a dorm, a concrete dorm.
Yep. Which was better. We stayed in a concrete dorm in Kuwait, which was good. In Oman, we stayed in tents.
Whoa.
Air-conditioned tents, because it was 122 degrees. Wow. It was so freaking hot.
What are our troops doing in Oman?
The same thing they're doing in Kenya, meddling. I assume they are meddling.
You're doing shows for meddlers.
Shows for meddlers is exactly what is happening.
Oh my God.
And you know why? Because the United States has a nose problem. We're in other people's business. Mm-hmm. And but they're bored. So I'm bringing them a lot of video games and a lot of board games. People sent me so many games. 60 PS4 games.
Do they have PS4s?
40. Yeah, they have PS4s. Okay. 40 different card and other card games. Uh-huh. And I pulled out the biggest luggage that isn't unwieldy. And Andy loves Tetris. He loves packing things tightly into luggage, and he likes to pack luggage. So I was like, please make all of these fit.
But Jackie, you're gonna have to unpack that stuff every single day and hand out a few little pieces.
No, he's got them set so I can grab the top 4.
Okay.
Because it's mixed. It's like there's a Spider-Man, there's a God of War, there's a Uncharted, there's a whatever.
Okay.
And then right underneath that is the two board games, one of each kind that I hand. Mm-hmm. And I like, take this to your library, take this to your game room,
right?
And then by the end of the trip, it should be my luggage will be relatively empty, and I will have bought a sarong or whatever to fill that. Is there anything you've ever wanted from Bulgaria? Do you want a vampire? What can I get for you?
I'd like a weightlifter.
A weightlifter? Mm-hmm. Excellent. Weightlifter vampire?
I am already mentally in bed right now. Are you?
No. I've gotten a second wind, weirdly enough.
I'm curling. Every second I get more and more in a fetal position.
I know it. You're retreating. What about this? I'm going to do a trigger. Here's a conversation that Kyle and I were having before the show, and he came up with a great term, and it is an entourage comedian.
Right.
A comedian who's really good at the sort of the selling themselves.
Yeah.
And the sort of a professional feature act, usually has a podcast and is good friends with sort of powerful tool bags.
Oh, yeah, I know a lot.
Entourage
of
comedian. We all know a lot of those guys.
Good friends, right?
Yeah. And they're just painful when they get on their high horses and start talking about stand-up comedy. And that's the only time when I want to literally say to somebody, "You're not a comic," because they are comics. They do the job. People leave those clubs going, "Well, that was stand-up comedy," and I want to follow them and go, "Not the best stand-up comedy you've ever seen," but they're just, they're marketing geniuses. And somebody said something super rude to Patton today.
I saw that.
Right, and then somebody, and I don't know who that comic is.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I know that guy either.
I just sent a solidarity note to Patton, and just solidarity tweet.
Yeah.
Because that's where we're at. And so, but the weird thing is some woman later had a screenshot of some bot that she has, or some way of figuring out that over half of 60% of his followers, this comics, aren't real.
Oh yeah, you can figure that out with anybody. I forget what the thing is.
Where you go for that. And I was like,
I had a pretty high percentage of real people.
Well, and I was like, do me. How many of my people are real?
Yeah.
Because there was, when I first joined Twitter, I bought a bot.
Yeah.
And what that bot did was it found, like, what it would do is, and I did it with Hardwick, essentially, Chris Hardwick, because of Nerdist, and this is 2009, I think it was, and when I joined. And so it's 10 years ago. And I went, and Hardwick had like 100,000 followers or something, felt insane at the time.
Right.
And I was like, and it would automatically request. Wait, was it MySpace? No, I think it was Twitter. It would automatically follow all of these people that followed him. And you get an alert, these people are following you. And then automatically 4 days later, if none of them followed me back, it would unfollow them.
Oh.
And it would do 100 people every day until Twitter realized that there was a bot doing that, and then they blocked it.
Oh,
and
so
then,
that's how people got a lot of followers early
that's how you
on?
get a lot of followers initially. And I think that's how I got my first 1,000. And I believe that bot, or that little crawly thing that did that thing for me, was $12. And so, but it was very targeted.
Yeah.
And it was sort of a real thing. I was like, hey, hit up, because people who like Chris Hardwick would like me, because we're both nerds, dorks, And I did this,
Look at you. Look at you interfering in the 2016 campaign.
I'm an entourage comedian at this, but on a very baby level, because I like the idea of, I don't like the idea of branding and putting myself out there, but you know what I do like is interacting with the fans. Mm-hmm. So to do that, I have to have that social media presence.
That's one thing I was worried about this week. I was thinking about this week because, again, we're a couple of weeks away from when this is dropping. But there's a picture of Joe Rogan on InfoWars. I did not participate. Right. I didn't listen to it. But it was just like...
No, I'm not listening to that.
What the fuck is happening? Are people just not being comedians after a while? They're like, they get to a certain point and they're like, you know what? I'm just going to pundit my way out of this and then die.
I'm just going to sit in one place and have and riff. Because that's what, I'm sure that's what he did, right?
I don't know. I didn't watch it. I was so appalled to see that he would be on with You know, I know
with
he
those
had
people.
Alex Jones on his podcast too.
Did he?
It's just disgusting. No, there's no worse person that's not an actual criminal than Alex Jones. And just this week, one of the Sandy Hook dads killed himself, and
Yeah.
Alex Jones was immediately on the same podcast that he had Joe Rogan on, saying that the death was a hoax or he was murdered. He was throwing out some ridiculous, like, the motherfucker just killed himself. Like, his family, it's a whole new fucking wound.
Yeah.
And you've decided to do the hoax thing again, and
Yeah.
again, sick your trolls on these people. It's astonishing, and I'm so appalled that any stand up is involved or attracted
or just
to that.
associated to it. Yeah, because you know what, this stand-up comedy has real power. The way that you can genuinely mug and milk the good, like, you know, there you know how to work a crowd.
It's not an easy thing to learn how to do. And once you're, you know, Rogan wouldn't be my favorite stand-up ever, but he does a good job.
He does his job.
Yeah,
he does
and
the
so
job.
You work so hard to get that skill and to get an audience, and then you just go off the deep end and start hanging out with a conspiracy theorist. It's
Right. It's just a
gross.
weird. How did somebody put it very well? And I'm gonna look it up because it was a way that somebody was not using their powers correctly. Tell a story.
Well, who am I telling?
Comic
Can
of
we
the
just
week.
pause
Comic of
for a
the week.
second?
34.
Do the comic of the week.
Okay. To nobody. Because you're looking at your phone and Kyle's typing.
Kyle's gonna stare deeply into your eyes.
Kyle's on Craigslist right now looking for a new job, looking for a different podcast. Our comic of the week, I also work with her in Seattle at Laughs. Her name is Jackie Gold, and she lives in Los Angeles. But I think
I
worked
like
with
her name.
Yes. Gold.
No, Jackie.
So I think we may have worked once together because when I saw her on stage, I go, oh, yeah, I know this girl. But it's sometimes weird how you can not see somebody in a city you're in a lot, and then the city you're never in, and that's where you hook up with them. Anyway, so she was very funny, and she did a couple sets on my shows at Laughs, and check her out, Jackie Gold.
Jackie Gold. I like the idea. And I probably met her when I was up in Seattle, but have spaced. My brain is a sieve. Okay, so the thing is there's a point in stand-up comedy when you can where you stop thinking of yourself as someone who has ideas and that you can share with people and examine different, like, real situations and real issues.
Right.
And so this is what a friend of ours wrote about someone who isn't a friend of ours, but who could be. Anyway, this person
This is a comic on comic comment.
This is comic on comic.
Okay.
This person is an ideologue leaning towards demagogue. It's disheartening. I read a little bit of the back and forth. And then he said that I was extremely bright and articulate. And then he said, this guy is bright but uses his intelligence to bully.
Name.
And so check that. That's the Twitter feed.
Dude, your screen is so dim.
Oh, is
How am I
it?
supposed to read this?
So, well, it's you're going blind. And
Oh yeah, I love this guy.
and the guy
And
he's
who's he
talking about, it's
last name?
last name. That guy.
Oh yeah, I
So,
know. I
right.
know.
So that was the conversation I had. But using his intelligence to bully was the line that I was looking for. Guys like that kind of. I believe Joe Rogan does that thing what irritates me about his stand-up comedy is that he says, "I'm just a regular dumb guy and I do dumb things."
Right.
And no, he isn't. He isn't a dumb guy who does dumb things. He's a smart guy who does dumb things and then doesn't want to defend them. And he just wants to pretend that he's doing it because he's dumb. And it's incredibly disingenuous, and it's not. And I'm sure it's like disingenuous. Who talks like that? Disingenuous. Who would say a word like that? It's like, I don't know.
well, you're not obviously not a regular lady who does regular things.
Right,
Jackie.
exactly. I am definitely a regular lady who does regular things.
Here's the thing, though. I think like if you're only talking to your audience all the time,
Right.
And so when you start like his podcast is very long. He's got a very strong connection with his fans, and his fans listen to the entire podcast, and it's
Are you guys
symbiotic.
still out there? Are you still listening? Are you listening to us?
When you start only talking to people who already think like you guys are all going to go down a rabbit hole together.
Yeah.
And I think it's a danger with any comic that gets a certain level of success is that you start to have a shorthand with your fans. And as a comic, your job is to be able to walk into any situation and make that audience laugh.
Right. And if you have to unpack, you should be able to unpack.
What do you mean unpack?
Like unpack like the topic. You shouldn't have a shorthand.
Oh, sure. And
you should be able to.
Right. And you also need to appeal to people that are outside your fan base, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have to, and you start doing shows year after year and just your fans keep coming and they keep cheering you and they love everything you do and they're part of you now, then you don't have to work that hard anymore.
Well, not unless you choose to.
You don't have to.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
So
you would have to choose to, I guess. Yeah, it's a better way.
You're not being forced to,
Yeah.
and no one wants to work hard. I mean, we all would love everything to be easier. So of course you're naturally going to be like, hey, all I have to do is entertain these people who came out to my show the moment they heard it was me. That's a dangerous place to be in a way, because a real comedian can entertain people that just wandered in and don't know who you are and don't like female comics, but oh my God, you did it. You're funny. They don't like your race. They don't like whatever. And you overcome that. That's part of being a really good comedian.
Yeah.
And when you're only preaching to the people you've converted, then I think you can go down these rabbit holes that it seems like Joe Rogan might be going down, where he's only talking to people that take the supplements that, it's all this whole world. And the fact that you wouldn't notice you're in a parallel lane with Alex Jones. It's like, what's
with
missing?
white supremacists
No one's
and
telling
Nazis
you?
and tinfoil hats. And,
But like, no one's talking to you. No, you don't get out of the group of the people that you talk to all the time and saying,
that's
this guy's
exactly
a fucking monster, and look what he's done to these parents and these people and the things he said about these dead kindergartners. What the fuck?
yeah.
I don't know.
No, but that's key, is that nobody talks to these people. Has been the battle cry against sort of famous people forever, where it's just like where nobody talked to him and told him that he was doing too many drugs. Nobody talked to him and said that he should stop touching little kids. Nobody talked to him and said that he shouldn't roofie people.
Right.
It's no one is talking to them. The people around Joe Rogan are the people who are making money. I believe he's owned by a hedge fund. I am almost certain that he is owned by a hedge fund.
Well, he's got shareholders to answer to, Jackie, so I understand.
They want to
all
make
now.
money, and they don't care how. So he's a hedge fund comic. It's a lot like an Entourage comic.
But he seeing that picture, and then there's, again, what the name you just wrote down, but there's some older male comics on the left that have, to me, crossed some weird line of they're just assholes on the internet now talking about Bernie. And
there's a cackling by Kyle in the background.
like, hey, our first job is comedian,
Yeah.
And I understand getting, I get political, you get political,
Right,
but we're
and you get to, because you have a personal, you have a personal life as well, and you're a voter.
But you also kind of go, you have to fucking call your fellow comics
out.
Well, we're just calling out Joe Rogan, so maybe we're doing that too. But it's just it feels like some people are I don't know. It's maybe a generational thing of hopelessness of some older guys. Is that possible?
Those guys think, there's a whole generation of guys that didn't get to be Drew Carey, right? That worked the same.
They were
clubs.
promised the same thing.
They
At
were
least we weren't promised it.
Right, we were promised nothing.
You might be able to be Drew's wife if you're 30
you
pounds
lose
young,
30
pounds,
Yes.
weigh 30 pounds less and 200 pounds less than him.
Right.
Then you'd be qualified to be his wife on the
Exactly.
sitcom and have two lines.
But
So we knew it was shit early on.
right, but the what those so the bitterness is there, and that is what that is. They all thought they were going to be Seinfeld,
Right.
and Drew Carey and those guys, and when they didn't get it, they didn't feel just, and they're like, well, clearly it's a conspiracy, and you're like, it clearly is not a conspiracy. Shit just doesn't work out sometimes, where you are enormously successful, and that's not enough for you, and. The fact is you have a giant Scrooge McDuck pool full of money.
No, I don't think they all do.
Well, they have plenty of money.
Some of them don't. Some
I
of
mean,
them
they're not fabulously
They were
wealthy.
always on the sidelines, and they stayed there. And
Wait, but the two guys that we were just talking about, they both own their own homes in Los Angeles,
okay, but
which is
you can own a home and be home poor, because if that's all you own, you're.
But there's home poor and there's poor.
right. But if you have a mortgage and you barely cover your mortgage, and even though your home is worth $800,000, it's only that you only have that money when you sell it and leave, and then where you're gonna go? Where are you gonna go?
But let's say your mortgage is $2,000 a month. Your rent's going to be $2,000 a month. So find $2,000 a month is your task, right? Which is always what it's been.
$2,000 a month for rent, and mortgages are higher than that. Unless, well, I don't know. I guess it depends when you bought completely, but $2,000 a month you're not going to find at the same comparable space. If you've got a family, you're not going to be able to put kids and a wife in that.
Right. I assume your wife works, but the weird thing is. We've gotten off topic, and the fact
Totally off topic.
which is that
I don't even know what we're talking about
right.
anymore.
We took a spiral. You got anything, Kyle, about what we were talking about? Were you just checking your email? No worries. So
It's such a complicated topic that I think there's so many layers to it, and each one is such a
right. Well, and here's the old. I just want to say this is that there's these old white guys who are all tinfoil hat runners now. The first job, what I want the first job of stand-up comics to be is to punch up, and it is never to have some sort of weird cult. And all of these guys want to be Bill Hicks, and they want their Lenny Bruce cult. They want their Lenny Bruce cult. They want their Doug Stanhope cult. They want their... And the thing is Doug Stanhope has that cult, and he doesn't abuse his power.
Exactly.
His power.
He's not that. He
isn't that guy.
Yes, he isn't.
His name has
he
never
could
been...
be, and he isn't. He chooses not to be.
We've never written Doug Stanhope's name on a piece of paper.
because you could just say anything.
We could just alert the media as to what he's done.
No, he has very consciously not gone down that road.
Or unconsciously, because he's not a monster.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, one of those...
Also, I don't think he ever wanted the things these other guys want, though.
Right.
He didn't.
Just wants to tell
Who moves to Bisbee?
Exactly. You do not want the same things.
Yeah,
right.
you don't want to be Drew Carey because he was
Why
here.
is Drew Carey your model of what every guy wants?
Well, because he had
really-
the
he is.
sitcom.
He did.
And I'm not even kidding you. I wish I could remember the name of the dinosaurs that said to me, I came up with him. I should have been him.
Dude,
He's not even good looking. And you're like, stop talking.
you don't
And,
have to remember. It was every dinosaur.
It was every...
But here's the thing. Like, we're around the same age as some of these guys, right?
Yep.
And we've been doing it as long as they have. But I think you and I feel a little rejuvenated because all of a sudden the doors are opening for female comics. Now, the same way, it's not opening the same way for you and I as it is for 35-year-olds, but it's opening a little bit. And it's like, hey, maybe we'll get something.
Well,
and it's kind of exciting versus
Is that what excites you?
It's like, oh, everyone's on to white guys. So the 28-year-old white guys are like, "Good, I'm going to be really good,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be a cool guy," and they can find their way. But if you're like a 60-year-old white guy who is good but not
You're right.
great,
You're right.
and there's
But you're
you don't have
given-
an excuse.
Yes. and you're given hope by the fact that there's all these younger women that, and you're like, well, maybe I'll get something from it because they're looking at women comics now for the first time ever.
Yeah. I mean, that's not the only thing, but partially, yeah.
Because I feel that, but I also feel like there's so many young women comics that they can't not see us anymore. And that's kind of awesome. Where I'm just like, every time one of the younger crowd like pipe up and say, no, fuck you, we're not, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I sat through that any number of times.
I know.
I'm so happy for them.
I know, it's exciting.
I'm like, go, get them.
Yeah.
And like the whole thing with John Cleese, where are we at? Can I?
Oh, we are at 48.
Okay. So, and I don't want to badmouth John Cleese.
Mostly
I love
because
his
he's daughter,
and he's bankrolling a club in Santa Barbara.
Oh yeah, let's be smart.
Let's be real
But
smart
his daughter,
about John Cleese.
his daughter's
I don't know.
very funny. She's been a comic of the week, Camilla Cleese.
Right, but I've never met her.
Really funny joke writer.
Good.
Really nice, hard worker, like everything you want.
Right.
So she's great, and we all have an old dad.
Right.
You know, I
Right,
mean,
and
I
he's-
had an old dad, and if my dad were still alive, he'd be.
Appalled
he
at the
might
Amy
be a Trump
Schumer?
voter. I don't even know. So glad he died before I found out.
Yeah.
But I'm saying we all have a dad that's of a generation that thinks a certain way. And can't-
whatever. He tweeted that he thought that Amy Schumer's, and
was
it was
Amy
clear.
Schumer or Nicole Byer? Nicole Byer thought it was her.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
And other people thought it was Amy. Whatever it was somebody. It was somebody who wasn't super fucking thin. Except for that Amy Schumer was pregnant in hers.
I don't
That's
think
a very Romeo and Michelle kind of.
I'm not sure it was Amy. But he objected to somebody saying they were so fat they couldn't find their pussy.
As that was the example of the joke that he
But
did
now,
not like.
maybe that's not word for. I'm sure it's not word for word. I have no idea. I don't know
No,
the
the
bit
tweet.
or the
The
person.
tweet said that I'm so fat that I can't find my pussy.
Okay, but I'm not sure. I'm not
But
sure
whose
he's
joke that was.
exactly
Yeah, we don't know
quoting
whose joke that
the
was.
person properly.
Right, and he might not have been quoting the person.
Yeah, right.
Even though that's some comedy gold right there. Imagine being so fat you can't find your pussy. I've never heard a comparable joke from a guy where he's so fat he can't find his. Oh wait.
Yeah.
I've heard that 30,000 times.
Right.
In other news, and so anyway, it led to this whole thing about women comics. He's like, "Oh, I didn't know Netflix was looking for people to talk about bodily functions and being fat." And I haven't seen a lot of Monty Python.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you remember a little sketch called Mr. Creosote. It was essentially about a guy in a fat suit who went to a restaurant and ate himself so much he threw up for the rest of the sketch. There was another thing in one of his movies called Every Sperm is Sacred, and it was a song about sperm. So,
Yeah.
John,
Listen.
and the thing is that's exactly what Netflix is like. If there were four young guys, if Monty Python had never existed, and there were four young guys and an animator who came together and had sketches like Monty Python now, Netflix would snap them up. They would think it was the funniest fucking thing in the world because it was. Right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of comedies bodily functions.
Yeah,
those
sure
are
is.
the most embarrassing parts of being human is bodily functions. And
Right.
comedy
And so
talks
it's
about embarrassing
initially
stuff.
it's everybody's first 3 years. You
Yeah.
might as well be a monkey
and it's
throwing
your
it
last
at the
3
wall.
years as well.
That's why I don't want to see Bob Newman.
But you know, the thing about regulating what female comics talk about is just it's an old complaint,
Yeah.
and it's tiresome.
It's an old chestnut. You might want to put that one away.
They've been trying to control our language, what we talk about, that attitude,
Right.
since you and I started, since
Yep.
before that. You know, oh, don't be one of those female comics that talks about, and then you could just come up with a list of things that we're
list.
not supposed to talk about.
And
all right,
I never did.
I'll cut off that limb, that limb, that limb. Let's see what experiences do I have left? Not
Yeah, no,
much.
I'm a doorstop, is what I am, because I'm
Right.
limbless. But I was still a funnier doorstop than half of those guys.
The thing
So
is,
fuck those guys.
Yes, but also, you know, every person coming up is in a body, and we all discover our bodies in our own way. So, you know, when you discover the way to talk about your vagina or your dick, you're going to do it.
Right.
That you only have one, and you're allowed to have the
yours.
same metamorphosis that everybody else does.
Right.
Hopefully you won't do it exactly the way 4,000 other comics have done it before you.
New twist.
Yeah, but you also, it's hard to be aware of every fucking comic that ever had a special on, going back to, when HBO first started. So, everyone's going to be discovering their voice and
You know J. Elvis Weinstein, right? Josh
Yes.
Weinstein.
Mm-hmm.
He tweeted something the other week about how he was looking into a joke, so he looked it up to make sure the IP it hadn't been addressed, and it came up with him. He had written a joke 2 years earlier.
Yeah, the same joke.
The same joke, and which is a classic stand-up comedy moment, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So so whatever female comic he was talking about,
with whoever it was,
she's allowed to go there, and
Right.
hopefully it was clever and unique. And
if it wasn't, turns out there's a different comic next week.
I know
That's what I always tell
They
the
released,
audience.
how many did they release? 45 on New Year's Day or something like that.
I know.
Some ghastly number.
It's always like
Some way to
and
completely
then there's
diminish comedy.
well. Of a guy who isn't a bad guy. He's a better guy today than he was when he said this to me in 2003. He said, write it down. He said, when I got my half-hour special, he said, how many did they shoot this year? And I said 25, and he said, it doesn't matter anymore then.
Oh, Jesus.
And so he didn't even hear that he said it. So it was just thoughtlessness.
Did he have one?
He did not, and that's why he wanted it. But he was working.
Oh, so he was telling himself it doesn't matter anymore.
Yes. But he said it out loud, and I was in the room.
It wasn't because a female comic got
No.
it, that it doesn't matter anymore.
No, it was because
the
there were
amount of
20. It was the
specials.
number of specials. Oh, he said, it doesn't
All right.
matter anymore. And so, and you're right. He was just giving himself a pep talk.
Right.
But on the back of me.
Oh, yeah.
Like by
Awful.
stepping on my neck as he did it.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was
Classless.
brutal.
Yeah.
Where are we at, if I might ask?
54.
That's not bad. Let's.
Hey everybody, this is J. Keith Van Stratton, host of Go Fact Yourself, a live game show here on the Maximum Fun Network. On Go Fact Yourself, we take the smartest people we know and make them look dumb. Paul, by the way, how much do you know about chicken husbandry?
You gotta give him that grain.
All right.
You gotta give him that grain.
And then smart again. What future Hall of Fame pitcher for the Cleveland Indians became the first active player to enlist?
Bob Feller.
Oh, okay. We've got me, co-host Helen Hong, plus celebrity guests and actual surprise experts. All right, we have an expert on hand who can tell us for sure.
Is it Alan Havey?
Helen, who do we have tonight?
Alan Havey.
Alan Havey! In the coming weeks, you can hear guests like Maria Bamford, Tom Bergeron, Paul F. Tompkins, Janet Varney, and Grant Imahara. Check us out on the first and third Friday of every month here on the Maximum Fun Network.
We never get to rest during the draw. I always get excited, and then we have to start talking again immediately.
But we only have a couple more minutes.
That's true.
It's true. What do you want to get out of your next set?
Oh, God. I hate these conversations. No. My next set, let's see. Oh, my gosh. You know what I did? I canceled a set.
I saw
Supposed
that.
to be tomorrow night.
You offered it up.
I offered
to
it
the
hurt.
powers.
Because my kid is so annoyed that I've been doing spots this week.
And this is the first week that he's been alone.
Yeah, my
right?
mom's not here. So I said, all right, so Thursday, this will be for we're doing this on a Wednesday. So Thursday night, he almost never has homework on Thursday night. This is the last night my mom is not going to be here. So we get the whole house, the little tiny house to ourselves.
Yeah, but the whole space to yourselves.
Yes, we don't have her.
What are you gonna do?
Always observant eyes, commenting on things, staring.
You may do nothing.
Oh, nothing. Right. Just going to chill out. But I said, all right, I'm just going to cancel the spot and we'll just spend this time together. But it did not feel good. And I emailed.
I thought about taking it. But on Friday, I'm leaving next week.
Lisa Traeger took it.
Good.
Yeah. She wasn't even, someone else suggested her, said,
Oh.
she's in town. And so I emailed the guy and he was like, oh, that'd be great. So I sort of
it's always fun.
facilitated in that. And I'm sure it's a sold out show. He already told me it was sold out. So it's, I'm missing a killer set at the Improv. But my son, these are the decisions that I did not want to have to be making when I was pregnant.
Right.
You know?
But you're never going to regret spending time with your
I
son.
already regret it.
Right, you regret it now. But but after it's over, like next week, when he has to sit here with your mom while you do sets,
I know.
you will be happy that you had that tomorrow with him.
Yeah.
And that'll be nice.
Yeah.
I would like to have recorded my album already. I would like to have finished this hour already so that it could be already be done and I could work on the next hour. Because I keep, and this is a quality problem and I know that, I'm coming up with new premises that I want to work on, but I have to tighten up the existing 45.
God, this fucking new hour is pressure. I can't take it.
Well, it's been 2 years now since my last album.
Dude,
and I like to
how long it's been for me?
I like to do a new album every 3 years. Because otherwise, I don't know. I like to get it down so I can move on to something else if I do. You know, the number of people who are like, when are you going to do that, the LA pet joke? And I'm like, I don't want, I barely remember it. And they're like, when are you going to do the Indian casino, you know, the Native American frozen food thing? And I was like, what is that joke? And
Oh, you mean on an album?
no, I already did them on the album, so now I
Okay.
don't have to do them live, and I don't lose jokes because of it. Because if I don't do the album, I don't want to. I lose jokes.
Don't you just lose jokes because they aren't
But if-
good enough for the attrition? Or
Well,
no, I guess I lost a lot of jokes.
you have so many albums in you. If you had done an album every couple of years,
Yeah, I
think.
should have. But I would look back on that material now and go,
Well, I do that, but I some of it, and some of it, I'm just like, I am amazing. You ever do that? You ever just look back and go, look who's a genius? Look who nailed it right there.
Did Wayne?
I like that we've just yeah.
Wait, no. I'm trying. Did somebody remaster a bunch of old recordings, and just release some old stuff?
Comic.
Wayne,
Just like some old.
oh my God, I'm
like
blanking on his
Fetterman,
last
or-
name. Yes, Wayne Fetterman.
Really?
I thought he did.
I
He
wouldn't
might
be
have like
surprised.
taken some old, like, because
I
we
remember the
have
year-
recordings of old sets where I wouldn't want to go back and do old jokes again. But if I could take a 45-minute set from like 99 or something when I was
I keep
closing on the
deleting
talking
them, and
penis.
and every time I delete a set, I'm like, oh, I bet you 10 years ago from now you're going to want to know what you were doing, and but
I'm not sure I'm going to. I think
Right,
you can,
that's what
you
I
can
always
dip
think.
in, look at one set every 3 months, and find material that you may have lost. Right?
sure. I mean, if I logged every set that I have on my phone right now and delete, and I need the space because I'm not using the cloud, Lori. I know I should be using the cloud, but I'm not using it, and so I need space on my phone, but I don't want to keep old sets and then do some best of business. But I remember the year Mike Kaplan put out 4 albums. I think his Sound Exchange money went up, and he was like, "Oh, let's just start cranking them out."
What the fuck?
Yeah. Some of it was music.
What?
Yeah. He was on the Dork Force talking about doing a lot of ayahuasca.
Oh man!
Yeah. Dragons are telling him to do stuff.
As soon as my son is out of here, it's life changing, Jackie.
You gonna do music?
No, my
No.
mom will probably still be alive.
Right. You got to wait until. I mean, you got another 6 years.
Oh God.
For the young man to grow up and to become the young man that he's going to become.
Kyle.
Sorry, I'm lost in this Wayne Fetterman album. It's 3 decades worth of this material on 3 discs. He just took
Whoa.
Wayne Fetterman took 3
Did
decades,
he re-record it, or did he
I
just?
think it's all like material.
but unreleased stuff.
Remastered, yeah, it's just
Remastered,
I
unreleased.
as one album.
Wow.
Wow, broken up into 47 tracks that Sirius can now play.
Wow.
Ka-ching.
I love that his LA River joke is so funny. Oh
I don't-
God. He's so hilarious.
My God, it's fun.
Yeah.
But okay,
Dude, please. Right?
I think we're.
Bye.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture.
Artist owned?
Audience supported.